Welcome back, artists. Happy Wednesday. This week we are working on a scene from the desert, hiking in the desert in Arizona. So far this week we've done things that we would find in the background, so those very interesting mountain formations, the rock formations, and rocks themselves, because there are a lot of rocks out there in the desert. And then yesterday we spent some time drawing different kinds of succulents or cacti, and today we're going to draw some animals that you find in the desert. I'm going to start from my right to my left so that you can hopefully see what I'm drawing. Because I'm left-handed, I don't want to cover over what I'm doing so you can see it well enough. So we're going to do an owl, a lizard, and a tortoise. For the owl, we're going to start with a good size circle for the head. The owl's heads seem to be a little bit larger than other birds' heads, so we want to make sure that it's a good size. And then we are going to make an oval for his body, here like this. Make it on a little bit of a slant, and it overlaps a little bit with the head. And then we're going to do another oval to create his wing, like this. And then sort of a rounded triangle down here to make his tail. Okay, his feet are going to come out from here, but we'll do those in a little while. Okay, so now for the face, we're going to start here in the middle and do his beak. And this is sort of a diamond shape. Make it fairly low in the circle, like this. A diamond shape from top to bottom, and you can even bring it out a little bit on the sides like this. Okay? Then, right next to the beak, we're going to do some big eyes, because they are nocturnal. They hunt in the nighttime. They have to have big eyes so they can see well. And then around the entire thing, we're going to draw this sort of mask, like this. I love those. And then underneath his beak, we're going to do some feathers, like that. Oh, and we got to go and fill in his eyes. And the eyes are going to be big and open like this. Big and open like this. And you can even put a little point on either side of the circle, like that, for his eyes. And then let's put up a little bit of a line down the middle of his beak. Okay, so that's going to be the shape of our owl's head. Big and round. Now for the body starts here with the chest. We're actually going to go straight down a little bit before we curve, like that. And we're going to include his feet in here. He's going to be perched on top of something, so we want to kind of round a triangle right here. And his feet are going to come out from there. And they have huge talons for when they're hunting. So we want to make a couple of feet with talons on it, like that. Okay? Then we're going to do the shoulder. From his shoulder is where the wings come out. And really the wings it's going to be pointed more down at the bottom than it is at the top. And we're just going to make some feathers in here. We're just going to make some ovals in here for the feathers on his back, like that. And same thing down here on his tail. We're just going to put some feathers, some ovals that kind of connect down here, like that. Then across his chest, make this really easy. We're going to do some wavy lines, just like this. Kind of make it look like the feathers that we would see on an owl's chest. Just like that. It kind of looks like waves in the ocean all the way across. How does that look? I think that looks pretty good. It's a cute owl. The next thing we're going to draw is a lizard, but we're not going to do just any old lizard, not like a gecko or a salamander or anything like that, but we're going to do a horned lizard, because like I said earlier, everything in the desert seems to have spikes or horns on it. Everything is kind of agitated and angry and looks like it wants to hurt you, and you have to have armor in order to survive in the desert. So we're going to start with a smaller oval for his head, and it's going to be pointier at one end than it is at the other. That's going to become his face or his nose up here. And then we're going to be doing a bigger oval for his body here. And then we're going to do a kind of a curved triangle like this for his tail. Okay? All right. Then Very much like we did the toad or the frog that we did in our camping scene, where you have to have arms, of course, and the front one is going to be sort of like a C, like this, and then we're going to have the toes coming off from it, like that. And the back one is the same idea. We're going to start with the C. Actually, we're going to start more with a backwards S shape like this to make the elbow in it, like that. And then put your toes off from there, like that. Okay? Sort of a lizard, but let's go back in now and add some more detail. So for the face then, we want to make it really pointy up here, kind of flatten out that side and go around the top. And then his eyeball is going to go right about here, and there's a line that follows back like that. Okay? Then the back continues on. That's a good looking back. We can leave that the way it is. And then into the tail, like that. And I think this is a pretty good looking lizard. Now, in order to make the horns or the spines for the lizard, we're just going to do zigzags across. Just like we did kind of wavy lines over here for our owl, we're going to make a simple pattern of zigzags across his back to represent the horns for our horned lizard. We want to do this all the way down his tail. That makes him look spiny and spiky and sharp and tells predators, leave me alone. Okay? All right. The final thing that we're going to do is a tortoise. Now, the difference between a sea turtle and a tortoise is that tortoises are land animals. If you put them in the ocean, they would sink like a rock. So a tortoise lives on the land, and they can live for hundreds of years. So what we're going to do is start with a really big shell, and it's going to start with an arc like this. And then the bottom is going to be curved as well, but not nearly as much. And draw that very lightly, because what we're going to do is we're going to go back in here and we're going to add a wavy line on the bottom like this, sort of a scallop. Okay, that's going to make his shell. And then underneath it, we're going to create the belly part of his shell. Kind of looks like a hamburger right now, or maybe a pie. I must be hungry. That's going to be the bottom of his shell. Now coming out from the shell is going to be a neck. And then he has kind of a pointy nose, like this. And it's going to come back down, and we're going to create his front leg. The front leg has a bit of a knee to it, a bend to it, and then you create toes, like this. Okay? Then the back one wraps around like this, and it also has toes, sort of like that. And of course we can't forget his little tail. And let's go back in and put an eyeball. All right, so now the tortoise shell obviously has a beautiful shell to it. So let's go back in and add some shell, add a pattern to it like this. And so we're going to start with a polygon like that on top. And you want to leave space between these pieces, just like we did with our butterfly, so that they look like they fit together as he grows. Leave space in between. Like that. And you even have some going down into that scallop space underneath. Just like that. There's our tortoise shell. Now let's go back in with our ink pen and ink all of these in. I love the face that we created for this owl. I think he's going to be very cool when we get him all inked in. Be careful with your inking. Remember, you only want to draw those lines that you want to keep. Kind of looks like he has a mask. Like that. And his eyeballs. Like that. And then underneath, we've got some feathers that go down like this. And then we can do his wing. And instead of just drawing the oval, let's go around the feathers on the wing. I'm going to make that one a little bit longer so it looks like individual feathers instead of just an oval. And the same thing on the tail, like that. And then follow along to make his talons. Like that. And then we just need to do the waves on the ocean for his chest feathers. I like the way he turned out. Now you notice that you're not seeing me erase the lines on here because I've learned that you got to make sure that all of your inking is nice and dry before you erase them. So really what I do is after I turn the camera off, I go back after it's dry and I erase everything. Make sure that yours is completely dry before you erase it, okay? Let's do the lizard's face. Don't forget his arm and his little toes. If you don't like the way your pencil line looks, go ahead and fix that before you ink it in. And then do the zigzag on the back of his back, to make it look like the horned pattern for a horned lizard. Our lizard. And then finally our tortoise. Make that curve or the arc for his shell. And then the scallop along the bottom, just a wavy line. Do his tail and his back leg with his little toes. Do the bottom part of the shell. And then his knee with his toes. And the face. You can put a little mouth on there too if you'd like to. Now I read that the tortoise likes to eat the cactus apples from the prickly pear. That's one of the things that it eats in order to survive. Of course, the owl likes to eat the mice that will live at the bottom of the saguaro. And the lizard, of course, eats the insects. I haven't done any insects. I don't think we'll get to insects in this one. And there you have it. So you've got 3 different kinds of animals that live in the desert, and I'm going to do a bonus 4th one when we actually do our drawing together. So I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you tomorrow for tomorrow's lesson.